I think he likes doing that control thing more than anything.
Jeez, oh God, got me all tense.
I haven't even been to makeup yet.
You look good. Good morning and welcome to AM News Network presents The Morning Report with Rachel Baird. And since it's Thursday, I'm joined by Chris Janko. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
We do our show every Monday through Thursday from 7 to 7:30 a.m. I'm usually joined by Ed Peruta. And Chris, you walked in and you started talking about
I want to know what the
Korea.
heck this, I want to know what the heck this thing is. I've never seen one before.
It's a globe.
What does it represent?
I know people don't use them anymore. They look things up on the internet. But we were trying to find Guam.
You know why people don't use them anymore? Is because they change every year. You know, people, countries like, I remember globes back when we were kids, and then like globes 10 years later don't have the same geographical points and stuff. I mean, same geographical points.
Well, for example, Burma.
The countries changed.
Burma changed to Myanmar. That's a big example right there. So yeah, especially in Africa during the time period, they were all changing.
And pretty
their names
soon,
there.
North Korea is not going to be on the map anymore. Hopefully.
Well, that's what we're. That's the point we're getting to. And we did locate Guam. It is south of Japan.
And where the pointer is on the post-it note is where it is.
The Philippines.
Yes, it's very difficult to locate.
It's part of the Mariana Islands.
And it also has a population of 200,000 U.S. citizens. So that is what North Korea is basically threatening, is our citizens on Guam. So in my opinion, if something does happen, I say our commander-in-chief has every right to ratchet it up.
Okay, so the sticky is pointing at Guam, so I'm going to take away the sticky now, and you're on your own now in finding Guam. So there you go. It's funny because I've been caught up in watching some documentaries about the deepest place in the ocean. Do you know where that is?
The Mariana Trench,
which is right near Guam. 5 miles. It's deeper than Mount Everest is high.
Been there many times, and it is a great place to get a good burger. And if you want, you could really tie one on and have a great time.
That's not true
Mariana
because
Trench.
Only 2 people have ever visited there.
Stop it.
In 1960, in the Trieste. So anyway, let's get back to Korea.
So we probably could take.
Let's take this away. It's a little distracting. Okay, there we go.
The capital of Guam is Agana.
You been there, Ed?
Been there. I was at the U.S. hospital on Nimitz Hill, U.S. Naval Hospital on Nimitz Hill, in the summer of 1968, when swimming in a lagoon up in the hills with a kid whose father worked for the Immigration and Customs, and he told me the story about, there's still Japs in the woods. And we were buck-ass naked, skinny dipping, and I said, yeah, right. That was in 1968. In 1973, the Jap soldier with his rifle came out of the woods.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to hear about that story.
Well,
He did not want to retire his weapon. He did not want to surrender. And I actually saw the movie on that. It was pretty cool.
I think this guy that came out in 1973 probably was ready to surrender in 1968, but then he saw Ed buck-ass naked and decided to stay in the woods for 6 more years. Exactly. That's what I think happened.
But you do show that globe as being round. I wonder if there's the flat Earth theory globe somewhere out there where we could see what the globe looks like, the way the flat Earth theory people have it there.
Well, it sounds like you have been listening to some shows because because I have this thing. I don't think the Earth is round because if you take away the water and you think about the Marianas Trench and all that kind of stuff, the land is like this, but then the oceans are like all this. So I think the Earth is basically just like
what proof do we have?
Just
that
like
the
a bumpy
Earth is
mass.
round? I mean, if you really think about it, we could take that globe and hold it up to the camera, and NASA could have been feeding us a big lie. So I don't know. I mean, if you really think about it, our country feeds us lies every day. One of the big lies that we have is that the United States Treasury has all its money. not to get off the subject, but I was watching a video the other day, and it shows all the congressmen. Actually, it was showing the representatives from the U.S. Treasury. And did you know that we are missing like $9 trillion from the U.S. Treasury? Not million, not billion. We're missing $9 trillion from the U.S. Treasury. Nobody talks about that. You never know. You never know.
And is this money that actually ever existed? Or
was
it just on some kind of ledger? Was it gold? Was it paper? Was it coin?
Well, the scary thing about it was when the response came from the individual that was representing the U.S. Treasury, the response was, "We don't know where it is." And that was the scary response. And I think what's happening in this country is that we have a lot of representatives that we elect to office that have failed us. And one of them, again, getting off the subject a little bit, Mitch McConnell, who decided that he was going to break from what he was doing the other day and start, you know, telling people that the reason we're not getting things done in offices or in Congress or in the Senate is that Donald Trump doesn't understand that there's a process and everything. We've been talking about repealing Obamacare for the past 7 years, and this guy is up there saying that Donald Trump just isn't understanding that it takes time. It takes time. I am to the point right now where I think we should just clean house. I'll probably be whacked right outside the door when I leave the studio here.
What's outside the door?
Hitmen from the United States government. Flat earthers. But I mean, we're getting to the point now where we as citizens are just going about our daily business. I mean, look at the state of the economy here in Connecticut. We're going about our business. We're going off to work. You're going off doing your lawyering thing.
Yep, that's
I'm
what I do.
I'm going off doing whatever I do.
Yeah.
And I think the people of Connecticut are to the point where we're just under the assumption that we've got people in office that are supposed to make the state run properly, but yet we're, what is it, $5 billion in the hole here? We're so far in the hole that I don't even know how we can ever get out without somebody that knows how to, streamline the budget some which way. But if you had an income, I mean, if you have an income, how do you say, I'm going to spend $1 million this year, and I mean, I know.
Well, the way you do it is if you think that somebody's going to pick up the tab in the future and give you the money without you having to work for it. If you live under that illusion, or sometimes it actually comes true, then that's how you do it. That's how you overspend, because you're thinking the big payday is going to come down the road, or the big windfall is going to come down the road, or the big government grant or something. And I think that's how you do it.
Yeah, but we've got we the people of this state paying our taxes, and we have elected officials that, in my opinion, should be running to keep our state running within a budget, a prescribed budget. And how it goes from staying within a prescribed budget to being $5 billion over the budget, I mean, to me that is negligent. And you, being an attorney, I think we as people should be able to sue our legislators, and I believe right across the board. I mean, the people who have elected to, or who are elected to represent us, if they are voting for projects and stuff that are over budget, I believe they should be held negligent. Just like I think, and we were talking about this several weeks back there, these mayors that are creating sanctuary cities, and you were saying something about if you want to, you can sue, but to create a lawsuit against somebody like that, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But think about it, though.
And let's face the facts. Most lawsuits get thrown out.
Yeah, but
filed in court.
if you think about a mayor who says he's going to create a sanctuary city, and he's basically running outside the boundary of what the law states, because the law states that if you have illegal citizens or illegal aliens or whatever in your city, technically they need to be reported, they need to be deported. You can't say, that's almost like saying I'm going to harbor a fugitive. Mm-hmm. Somebody comes running to my house, no, don't worry about it, I'm going to take care of you, we're going to put you in the basement. The police come knocking on your door and you say, nope, nobody's here. Technically, what happens to you? You become a felon, technically, because you're harboring so as a governor of one of these sanctuary states, if that individual causes a crime, I'm one of these guys that, okay, if these illegals are going to stay in that city, you know what? I'm not going to go run into that city to go oust them. But what happens when they hurt a relative of mine that goes to a movie or something in New Haven, or goes to a play or something in New Haven, and robs them?
Do you have relatives that go to movies and plays?
No,
in
not
New Haven?
really.
Okay,
no,
but go ahead.
I'm just making a.
I get it.
There's people that live in New Haven that want to go out and enjoy the city, and why is it that we have to worry about? Our citizens have to worry about when they go out if they're going to be accosted or whatever from somebody who shouldn't even be a resident of this country. And in my opinion, if that representative of that state has decided that he's going to harbor, she should be held liable for any thing that happens with the citizens of that state.
Let me talk about the tax issue you brought up first. And, I know that in many, many cases, litigation solves nothing, despite the fact that everybody always wants to sue everybody. Maybe there are some incentives and some ways that we can structure or restructure our government that will solve some of these problems. And with regard to taxes, part of the problem with taxes is people don't realize that they're paying taxes. You bring home your net paycheck every week, and I don't mean you, but people bring home their net paycheck every week, and to them, that's what they earn. That's their budget. But they really have a gross amount that they actually get paid. And if people were paid the gross amount every week, and then, or every 2 weeks, and they actually had. Did you bring this up? I know somebody brought it up.
I brought this up.
Okay, well, I'm preaching to the choir then. If you brought home your gross paycheck every week and had to actually write a check out to all the different agencies and whatever, it would have a lot more meaning to people.
Yeah,
and I think people would
said,
get a lot more pissed off.
I actually said you'd have people with pitchforks and
that's exactly why they don't do it.
And exactly,
it's exactly why they don't do it.
The proverbial frog in the pot. If you threw him into a hot pot, he's going to jump out. If you bring the water up gradually, he's going to boil to death over a period of time. And I think that's what's happening to our society, is that we're basically getting nickel and dimed. And it's really strange.
It's almost like we're treated as children. We're not gonna trust you to get your whole paycheck and then do what you're supposed to do with it. So we're gonna take it out, like we're your parents who put aside money for you because we know you can't handle it. You know what? And the government's probably right. People probably would not pay what they're supposed to, but that's a whole nother problem. If people aren't willing to pay what they're supposed to, maybe they shouldn't be supposed to pay that much.
Well, if you think about it,
that was not proper English, but
we don't use proper
exactly
English. Gosh,
it's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet.
I know. I haven't even had my first cup of coffee. What happens though is that we have a group of individuals that I believe are paying the brunt of taxes in this country. Obviously, we know poor people don't really pay taxes. They're not designed to have that kind of discretionary income where let's give this to the state government, let's give this to the federal government. I don't begrudge poor people. I've been poor quite a few times in my life, and If you probably open my wallet right now, we'd find out that I'm not.
I did when you walked in already. So I checked.
But if you think about it too, the rich people in this country really don't pay taxes either, because rich people are smart enough to know how to use offshore accounts. I don't even know what that is, but an offshore account. You have people that have what do you call tax shelters, write-offs. There's so many different ways somebody with means can take their money and hide it so that they're not paying even corporations don't, and that's why we have this state, and we have companies leaving our great state of Connecticut, because they're scratching their head and they're going, okay, wait a second. We've got New York, we've got a couple other states within a very short perimeter of Connecticut that doesn't have the the taxes that we have here, the corporate taxes. So we're finding, what's the last company that I just heard left Connecticut just recently?
Now, did Aetna leave or not?
I think Aetna is still in the works. I haven't been following the Aetna story.
And you remember that big story in the earlier in the year or late last year that some of the insurance companies in Hartford were going to give $50 million or something to the city to help out or whatever, and it turns out that they have backed out of that deal. Yeah. And they're saying, well, we're really not backing out of it. What we said was, if we thought it was going to make a difference, we would give that money. Now, I don't remember hearing that part of it, but they're saying now that the city's looking into bankruptcy and all these different things, that they're not going to be giving that money.
Well, I haven't heard anything about giving money, but here's a perfect example of a corporation that doesn't not only doesn't have to pay a lot in taxes and stuff, but how about Yale? Anybody ever think about Yale?
Well, it's a nonprofit educational institution, right?
Yeah, but they own about half of New Haven.
I
mean, if you go down to New Haven, you don't put in a hot dog stand unless Yale says
That's right.
you can do it. And I can tell you this right now: there's a lot of people that go to Yale. There's a lot of students that go to Yale. And they're screaming about corporate America, the one percenters, the one percenters. Well, first off, they're going to a school where they're most likely going to be one of the one percenters, because you don't just go to Yale.
Let me bring that up. My 25th law school reunion is this October.
Are you a Yale?
I am.
Oh my God! I'm sitting so close to one of these Yaleys. I can't even stand it.
I've never been to a law school reunion, even though I live like an hour away.
Really?
But
oh, wow.
I think I'm going to go. It's the 25th year, and I think I'm going to go. And they wanted everybody to fill out a 500-word or less kind of biography of what you've been up to. Your favorite, what book you recently read, your favorite law professor, your favorite class, and an up-to-date picture. So, of course, I sent a picture of me with my Trump inauguration shirt. Oh. I'm wondering if, that'll go in.
That's why you haven't been invited recently.
but then they said, what's the most surprising thing that's happened to you in the last 25 years? Wait, how about you? What's the most surprising thing that's happened to you in the last 25 years?
There's been so many different little...
But surprising.
Surprising.
It's tough.
I guess, it is.
Well, this gets back to your 1% column, and your 1% comment. That's why I brought this up.
Oh, okay.
Because I put in that the most surprising thing that's happened to me in the last 25 years is I have not become rich. And I truly thought, because I went to Yale Law School for very superficial reasons. I wanted a way to make money, and so I used to watch L.A. Law, and I thought, my God, those people make $80,000 a year. That's L.A. Law. That's what I got to go to law school to make $80,000 a year. And then when I went to law school, something changed, and I got all wrapped up in, I wanted to be a prosecutor, I wanted to help victims, I wanted to go into public service and all that. So I kind of switched a little bit up. So I put in my little biography sheet there. That is the most surprising thing to me that's happened in the last 25 years.
Well,
I did not become rich like I thought I would.
Well, all you have to do to get rich, oh my God, Rich, I can't believe you haven't made any commercials on television about getting hurt in an automobile accident or a motorcycle accident, and you'd be rich because I've seen so many of these attorneys doing the motorcycle accidents recently, and every attorney's now a motorcycle rider. If you noticed, I'm out there riding my motorcycle, and if you fall down, we're gonna pick you up or whatever. And I'm to the point now where I'm going, really.
But do you know what? Do you know what? It works. It does work.
We're going to pick you up to get you a lawsuit that's going to make the attorney money.
I got to tell you, when I talk to people and they have, any injury claim related to motorcycles, one name comes up, and that's John Heyman, because he has those big billboards with the motorcycle.
Well,
and you can make fun of that advertisement all you want, but it totally works.
I've never rode a motorcycle in my life on the road, and I am willing right now we'll do some production commercials. I'll lay a motorcycle down on me, and we'll do some attorney Rachel Baird motorcycle lawsuit injury things, and we will do some great commercials. And we'll give Heyman a run for his money. But the thing that I want to get back to is you went to law school in Yale, or down at Yale there, and have you been down there recently, drove by? No.
I have not. I
have.
Oh, it's totally rebuilt.
God. I'm not talking about Yale. I'm talking about the people that go there. I used to work down in that area. I used to drive past Yale every day, right past. And I can tell you this right now. The people that go to Yale right now are very, very, and I'm not gonna
Chris,
I'm just going to tell you, there's some real...
a couple weeks ago, and we're trying to get over that. And here you go. Are you going to start something again?
No, there's some scary people that go down to that school, and I'm telling you, I see the gauges, I see the piercings, and I'm just going to myself, oh my God, and I'm sure there's some bright individuals that go there. Those are the leaders of the future. Those are our leaders of the future, and you know what? They're going to a school that I'm sure is very, very politically to the left, and
yes, it is.
You're gonna see that where we're gonna get these people.
I will say again, I do not remember one time in my 3 years at Yale Law School anybody ever mentioning the Second Amendment ever.
So you were smart enough. You only need to go 3 years.
That's all you go. That's what law school is, 3 years.
Oh, I didn't know
Undergrad's
that.
4, and then law school's 3.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But not once. And
wow.
I don't know if that held true in most law schools, because back then, the Second Amendment wasn't really it wasn't like since Heller and McDonald in 2008 and 10, but I don't know. So yeah, it was definitely a very, very left leaning school.
Well, first off, I'm not bright enough to probably go to a Yale Law School, but I can tell you this right now.
Well, you've never put your mind to it, Chris.
Yeah, maybe not, but I think I'd be getting some scraps over there, because I'd listen to one of those one of your anti-fada classmate type. Well, I shouldn't say classmate, but I just couldn't take it. I could not take going to a school where...
Now an interesting article came up in the New York Times yesterday about a recent graduate of Yale Law School, a black man who is from Connecticut, and when he was 16, he was convicted of carjacking. He did 9 years in jail. And then somehow, I don't know if he started in jail or when he got out, but he got his degree.
And he's an attorney now.
And he went to Yale Law School and graduated from Yale. He has a family, and nothing has happened since then. And he applied to the Connecticut Bar, and they do have, I forget, a moral turpitude or a suitability, whatever requirement on there. And they're it's going through the process of examining him. I don't know if he's been rejected, but the New York Times, the reason for the article was they should let him be a lawyer. Without knowing more, I have no comment on it whatsoever, because it all depends on how the article structures it, and the New York Times, we all know which way they go. But just looking at the facts, for me, the way the New York Times presented it, I see no reason why he shouldn't be a lawyer. I think it's ridiculous.
Don't you open a door technically when you let somebody do that? Now all of a sudden you could say, well, this guy was only convicted just recently. Well, he was a child molester back 15 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's gone through therapy. So now he's, we open doors when we.
You do have to look at things in individual circumstances. Unfortunately, I mean, we're not computers. We don't treat everybody the same. There's so many variables in life, and our system isn't set up to treat everybody the same. Otherwise, it would be like, if you're convicted of this, you get this much time. If you're convicted of this, you get this much time. But no, judges have a lot of discretion on what kind of time to give people or how to treat people. But you bring up a good point, because somebody in the comments said,
my wife has to go through that with the real estate.
Exactly.
You can't get a real estate license if you've got convictions.
Or doctors and things like that. And somebody said, they should have included something in the article about the victim. How does the victim feel about this? The victim kind of gets left out in this. How bad was the incident? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really have no opinion on this unless I knew more. But going by what I know, I don't see why he shouldn't be admitted, given on the facts that I know.
So the Yale people aren't too bad then, huh?
Well, again, you have to judge people as individuals. They do have a Federalist Society at Yale.
All right,
they do.
Right. I'm gonna cut them some slack, since I know you and I.
And I got to tell you, Yale was good to me. I mean, they paid for my education. I certainly didn't have the money to go there. I mean, nice. Yeah.
How come nobody paid for my education? That's what I want to know.
Oh boy,
we got the. Wrap it up, finger up in the air.
Any final comments about Korea?
Is that how you're supposed to do that?
Any final comments about Korea? That's what
I just think that real quickly, I know Ed's given us the wrap it up, but all I know is I watched a video on a poor girl that came from Korea, and it's a scary country. It's a very scary country. They make you get out in the street and clap for the leader. They make you get out in the street if there's somebody that dies that is of prominence, and they make you cry. That's the scary thing about Korea. They don't make you just clap for people, they make you cry. And if you don't cry, you might be the one that's getting walked out back. And
well, if you don't cry, they make you cry.
Oh yeah. That's and the poor thing, she was on a podium talking, and what she said was, if somebody, I wish I had the Google link to it, but if you watch this thing, you will see that their people are so repressed and just thumb on the people you can't even understand.
It'd be interesting to talk to a Korean war vet about all this, because I know I had read an article where some of them were saying, we should have kept going, and I don't know enough about it.
And with that, I think we got the sign there that we're pretty much out of time.
I'll see you next week, Chris.
I'm excited to be here, and I'll look forward to being here next week with hanging out with Yale.
Goodbye. Shut it off. Shut it down.
No,